You're listening to the Armchair GM Sports Network. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another installment of the Niagara Hockey Lowdown right here on the Armchair GM Sports Network, your August 13th, 2019 edition, your source for North American sports coverage by sports fans for sports fans, delivered to you right here in the Niagara region. You can follow the podcast itself on Twitter at ArmchairGMPod, like us on Facebook at facebook.com/ArmchairGMsNetwork, like us on Spreaker.com/TheArmchairGMs, all one word, as well as on Spotify by searching the Armchair GMs Network, and lastly on YouTube by searching the Armchair GM Sports Network. So wherever it's easiest and most convenient for you to listen to us on all those platforms is fine with us. And as always, I am your host of the Niagara Hockey Lowdown, Cappy. You can follow me on Twitter at Capoots13 with a Z. And I'm pleased to be joined by my co-host, as always, of the Niagara Hockey Lowdown. He is Kyle at JustKyle51 on Twitter. You can follow him there. Kyle, what's up?
I'm back.
Oh my.
And I'm better than ever.
That's right. We're back.
We're back. Did you just hit me with an Eric Bischoff?
I just hit you with that Eric Bischoff.
Oh my gosh. So yes, guys, it has been a very long time since we had an episode, but
Yes.
we wanted to get this network right, launch it the right way. The soft launch went great, and just over the last month, we've just been getting things together and in order here to make sure that our launch of the network was a success and that we didn't rush into anything.
Mm-hmm. That's right. It's been a crazy summer. It's been an interesting summer. It's been a busy summer. Maybe not sport-wise. Maybe for some sports that go on during the summer, but hockey-wise, it's been interesting. That's for sure. But we've been kind of keeping busy over the summertime. Awesome to be back here. Finally get some episodes out to you guys, and we're slowly creeping up on that hockey season. So expect more out of us come then.
Yep, it's been our off season too. So just like the NHL, there's a little bit of news, but nothing too major. But when it comes to the Leafs, there's always something to talk about. It seems like with them.
Oh boy!
So before we get into them, just so you guys know, if you're listening for the first time, Niagara Hockey Lowdown is where we talk about the Toronto Maple Leafs, the Buffalo Sabres, the Niagara Ice Dogs, and anything Team Canada hockey or Hockey Canada related that's going on. So caters to our fans here in the Niagara region, because those are the local teams around here.
Mm-hmm.
Not my team, the Toronto Maple Leafs. But without further ado, and I can't believe I got to play this song, but we'll get into the Toronto Maple Leafs portion of the show.
Yeah.
How to give a Sabres fan PTSD. I heard that song at least, I think it was 9 times in the span of 2 games last year. Oh, that was rough.
That game.
Yeah, it was great, eh?
Yeah.
So yeah, the Toronto Maple Leafs. Pretty interesting offseason for them so far. The last episode we came to you was Free Agent Frenzy, so we've had some stuff happen after that for them. So, Kyle, you want to just jump right into what Leafs news you got, since they're your boys?
I freaking knew it. I knew something was going to freaking happen as soon as we were going off the air. We spent all damn day trying to wait for something to happen. Stuff did happen while we were doing Free Agent Frenzy. You're not going to take anything away from that. But I was waiting, obviously, as a Leaf fan, for some Leafs news. And, of course, nothing happens till after. It always seems to happen every single time with the NHL. Every single trade deadline or free agent frenzy. Everything comes in like the last hour. And with the Leafs, it came a little bit after. I think it was a couple hours actually after we went off the air, and I think there was something that happened a couple days after. But I was intrigued by a couple of things they did. An interesting one that happened on July 4th, which I really want to get out of the way because of what you told me off air here, is the Leafs signed Cody Ceci to a 1-year, $4.5 million contract.
Yes, to solidify that blue line.
Ugh. At first I was like, okay. But then I'm trying to remember more about Cody Ceci, and I knew of him on Ottawa. He's like a young prospect, sort of, and then he kind of fell off the face of the earth. And when we signed him, I'm like, okay, that's interesting. It's different. I kind of want you to reiterate what you told me before getting on here of what actually happened.
So there is an article posted, according to the Ottawa Citizen's Aiden Helmer. Toronto Maple Leafs defenseman Cody Ceci and his common-law partner Jamie Thompson are being sued by a guest from a May 2018 dinner party. Hannah Engel suffered second and third-degree burns covering 35% of her body as a result of the incident, during which Thompson tried to refill a burner on an outdoor tabletop fireplace and accidentally ignited Engel with flaming liquid fuel. Thompson squirted the ethanol into the burner without checking to determine if the burner had cooled and or completely extinguished, causing flames and ethanol to jet out of the bottle, according to the lawsuit. Engel was placed on a medically induced coma and required 18 hours of surgery and skin grafts over 3 separate occasions. She's seeking $6 million for loss of income, loss of competitive advantage in the marketplace, and loss of economic opportunities. $500,000 pain and suffering, loss of amenities, and loss of enjoyment of life, and $300,000 in damages for loss of housekeeping and housemaking capacity. Engel owned and operated a yoga studio in Ottawa, but is unable to return to work. Jake Cardwell, a Niagara native, Engel's partner and Ceci's former teammate and junior for the Ottawa 67s, is also listed as a plaintiff. He's seeking $500,000 of value of nursing attendant and services, including loss of income, $200,000 in damage for loss of care, guidance, and companionship, and $200,000 for nervous shock, and intentional infliction of mental suffering and emotion. He was playing overseas for the Czech Republic, but had to take a leave of absence to care for Engel. So that's short story. It's a pretty long article here, but from the Score. But that's the gist of it. So Cody Ceci is being sued for a very weird scenario here, and I feel terrible for that girl that had her dress caught on fire and suffered all the coma, and like that's definitely not something to be laughing about. But it's just like it's such a weird thing. Like I don't think I've ever heard of a story like that about like a teammate suing another teammate over something like just so bizarre.
Right.
So Cody Ceci, I don't know how this stands for him as a Leaf, but
well, big problem here with this girl's not allegations, but the money involved. She's seeking around $6.9 million. Cody's contract is only 4.5. So I don't know where he's going to get this $5 million from.
Well, how much money has he earned in his career?
Bad math. $2 million.
How much money has he earned throughout his career? I can take a look at that real quick.
I guess, but damn.
Yeah.
If I were the Leafs, I'd trade his ass. Trade him. Trade him. I don't think this is good publicity for one, and two, I guess no. I just go with number one. That's not good publicity, and the Leafs, with MLSE being who they are, that's not good business. That's not a good look.
That's not best for business for them.
That's definitely a true fact right there.
He's made a total of $5.5 million over his career so far.
That's going to be an interesting one for him. So we'll see what happens. If he stays, he's right shot. It's something one can use on the right, obviously with the right, and right defenseman is a commodity in the NHL. I don't know. He didn't really do much in Ottawa, but we know what that Ottawa team was like. Again, he could play different. A lot of players it's a change of scenery. It does a lot for a player in the NHL. So who knows? This could be a resurgence if the Leafs actually decide to keep him. It's only a 1-year contract, which we don't have to stress that much about. It is a lot with 4.5, especially that we have to pay the biggest RFA out there, Marner, still, which we'll get into later. It's an interesting signing, that's for sure. There was a lot of other interesting signings. Jason Spezza to 1 year, $700K. Good fourth line center there, Jason Spezza.
At this point in his career, yeah.
Yeah. Kenny Agostino, he signed a 2 years, $1.4 million, which is a good depth role right there. I'll take an Agostino any day. This was interesting. I totally forgot about this guy. For all you Shell gamers out there, you knew a couple of years ago this guy was like a highly rated defenseman for whatever reason. Kevin Gravel. We signed to a 1-year contract, defenseman, $700K. I'm assuming Marlies for sure, and depth defenseman for injuries, and another depth for Nick Shore, $750K coming back. He's coming back from the KHL. He spent the year in the KHL, a year or two over there. So he's coming back, signing a year contract at least. Most likely we'll be starting with the Marlies this year. And then this was awesome. He actually came in as a part of a trade, which I'll get into after. But we signed Alex Kerfoot, for 4 years at $14 million, which was fantastic. Very good contract.
Very good.
But that was not the biggest part of that exact story. So the Leafs traded with the Colorado Avalanche. They traded away Nazem Kadri, which is sad because I love Kadri, and the guy was basically like, I thought he was going to stay with the Leafs his whole life. The guy's Toronto grown, and I thought for sure we would never trade him. But he's off to Colorado, but who knows? He might come back after his contract's done. We'll see. Calle Rosen, which I really didn't like getting rid of because I loved Calle Rosen, and a 2020 third-round pick for Tyson Barrie, of all people. I was shocked to see that because Tyson Barrie isn't a good defenseman and is a top defenseman. Little short, though, and more offensive. I know a lot of people didn't like that with the Leafs, and Leafs said a lot of people were criticizing, said we need more stay-at-home D-men, but I'm loving the Tyson Barrie on the Leafs right now. That's amazing. We got Kerfoot in that deal and a 2026. So I thought it was a pretty good deal. I like that trade a lot.
I thought the Leafs ripped Colorado off, to be honest with you.
Yeah, you get the younger centerman in Kerfoot, who's got a lot of upside and a lot of potential. We've seen what he's done in Colorado so far. Now he gets to play with just as good talent on the Leafs and with the growth Leafs, right? So you have more people to play with there. He's got some more opportunities there. You get Tyson Barrie, who's an insane defenseman and one of the top in the league. I'd say probably top. I would probably put him in the top 20, top 30 in the league.
Yeah, so, he's definitely a top pair defenseman.
Yeah, so that was a huge signing. So I was very, very happy with that.
My biggest thing in that trade was how underrated the Kerfoot get was, because Kerfoot is a very good player. He just, for whatever reason in Colorado, I mean, maybe because he, besides the first line, there really wasn't a lot of talent for him to play with. But I think Kerfoot is a very good player, and and I hate that he's a Leaf now. But at 3.5, his cap hit's very good team friendly hit there. He'll just slide right into Kadri's spot in the third line center role. And worst case scenario, he can move to the wing. He can play both, so that's great. But Barrie, obviously, he's got 1 year left on his contract. Not sure if he's going to be a rental or not, but I mean, we've always criticized the Leafs about not having top end defensemen, and in the last year they've acquired Muzzin and Barrie now, so. The Leafs' defense is definitely much improved what we were looking at going into last year.
God, you can say that again. Fun with Ron Hainsey, Ottawa.
Yeah, so that was a very good trade. And I think Kadri, they said it had nothing to do with him getting suspended against Boston, but I just think they felt like, we can't have this happen every year with this guy. It was on
the list. It was on the list of reasons. If they had to make a list of why that to be traded, whether there was cap relief on there, looking long term, his actions on the ice is definitely a contributing factor. Whether people want to agree with that or not, it is.
I mean, I think Kadri's going to be very good for Colorado. I mean, I think he slides right in as their number 2 center, which is something they desperately needed.
Yeah, who was it before? Carl Soderberg? Who else are you going to have?
Kerfoot for a bit, but I think Kadri is better than Kerfoot. Obviously, that was the Barrie part in the trade was to even it out, but I think Kadri will be a very good fit in Colorado, and hopefully, he doesn't have to play Boston in the playoffs again unless they make it to the finals against them, so you won't have to worry about getting suspended.
And Rosen's going to do really good for them. The guy's NHL ready. He proved how good he was in the AHL this year. He's way too good for the AHL this year. I was shocked he was never on the team at all at some point this year. So he's going to do wonders, I think, for Colorado.
It's just the price you pay when you get two really good players. I do think the Leafs got the better end of the deal, no doubt, but I do think Colorado did okay in the return. I mean, You get Kadri, you get Rosen, so those are good players.
Mm-hmm.
But
they're good players, They're good players that can play for Mike Babcock,
Sure.
If you're a good player in this team,
Speaking of Babcock and his good players, what do you think about all these $700,000 guys?
Oh man,
how many of them are going to make the team? I think
we're set for depth. That's all I'm going to say. I think we're set for depth.
I mean, we knew this was going to happen when the Leafs had to, with all their big guys getting big contracts. We knew there was going to have to be some bare minimum guys on the roster. So, I mean, this is basically filling out the Marlies and the last couple of spots on the Leafs for cap reasons.
I'm telling you right now, half of them I was like, who? And then, a guy like Kalle Kasila, I can't even say his
Tyler
guy's
Gaudette.
name. Tyler Gaudette.
But I think Aberg is a very good signing at $700,000.
That is my favorite out of all of them, especially because it's $700K. And God, that guy I thought had really unreal potential in Nashville, and they got rid of him. I'm pretty sure he went to Anaheim, if I'm not mistaken, first.
Yep. Then he went to Edmonton, and then he went to Minnesota. So
he got picked up off waivers by Minnesota,
and he played pretty well for Edmonton and Minnesota. So I think he's a very underrated signing at $700,000, especially for $700,000, bare minimum. Why not?
To fill out your bottom six, that's a key bottom six player right there. He's going to be basically what Tyler Ennis was for us this year.
Yeah, I mean, I think if Aberg can put up 10, 15 goals on the fourth line, I think that's a pretty good season.
Exactly. And then we have everyone else in case there's injuries or in case Mike Babcock, decides to have a fit and wants to play someone else.
No, maybe he'll play Aberg more than
no, he's going to play Agostino all season. What are we kidding?
And Agostino, his was a 2-year deal, so he's in for the...
He's in for the long run until Mike Babcock leaves and they bring up, what's his name? As to be Sheldon Keefe as a starting head coach.
Yeah. So that was the Leafs' interesting offseason signings. Yeah. We also had the minor trade of Jordan Schmaltz for Andreas Borgman.
Yeah. So a defenseman we were never going to use for a defenseman we're never going to use. Maybe. Actually, it's interesting because Schmaltz is actually in the early projected lines I have here that I found. There was someone, I think it was someone from an editor from a website that put early projected lines for the Leafs, and they has this is the lines with injuries, with everyone back from injury, and he has Schmaltz penciled in as the third D pairing with Travis Dermott. Yeah.
Well, if he's the Ron Hainsey of the team, I mean, maybe.
God. At least he's better than Ron Hainsey, that's for sure. He can probably move faster than Ron Hainsey. Actually, I think anybody can move faster than Ron Hainsey. I think Babcock on skates can probably outskate him.
Do you take any validity from this rumor about Dion Phaneuf being a good fit for the Leafs?
Okay, no. It's guys, it's the middle of August. They need something to write about, whether it stirs the pot or not. They need something. That was just probably a small, tiny bit of rumor. It's probably something Dion probably mentioned the word Leafs about, formerly playing for the Leafs, and some editor took that out of context and said, I'm going to write an article acting like he's coming back. It's just to stir the pot. It's to get the media. The media's already getting going now with the whole Marner thing. It's just to keep stirring the pot. It's something to talk about. They need something to write about. Why not? Hey, Dion Phaneuf's a free agent still. Doesn't look like anyone's going to sign him. Wouldn't he be a perfect fit to come back for $700K for 1 year? So Babcock could play him on the first goddamn line all year? No. Not happening. It's not happening. I guarantee you Dubas is not that person to bring back Dion Phaneuf. If Mike Babcock was GM, oh man, it would have happened ages ago.
It would have been July 1st.
Yeah, it would have been the first thing to happen on July 1st at 5 a.m. Dion Phaneuf to the Leafs. But because Dubas is back there, it's not going to happen. We're never seeing Dion Phaneuf in a Leaf jersey again. I take zero validity in that rumor.
Speaking of former Leafs, what do you think about the trade we got in the offseason there? Garrett Sparks being dealt to the Vegas Golden Knights for David Clarkson and a 6th-round pick.
The funny thing is with that trade, is that David Clarkson is still on the contract we originally offered him. Still on that contract, and we have him back again.
The last year of it.
Believe it or not, that trade cleared up cap relief. Somewhere in that, it got rid of cap relief. Apparently, it's because Sparks, I think, was signed to 2 years, and it was over $1 million in total his contract. So we got like over $1 million in cap relief. Whereas Clarkson were taking on his $5 million contract, but that goes on long-term IR at the beginning of the season. So it still acts as cap relief in some way.
And yeah, they've got Horton and Clarkson going on there once the season starts.
Yeah.
So people look at it and say, what the hell was the point of it? Clarkson can never play anymore. But if you look in depth into it and the cap philosophy of it, Clarkson's never going to play again, so he goes on long-term IR. Yeah, he's got, whatever, $5.8 million of cap, but he goes on there, it's wiped, and then Sparks' contract is gone. So the Leafs need to find cap relief wherever they can get it, and they've been doing a really good job of it this offseason with the trades that they made and getting rid of Marlowe and a couple of the other guys, and then trading Sparks away for the Clarkson contract. Like, Dubas is working his magic right now with this cap, which is pretty impressive because the Leafs are in very, very dire straits right now and need somebody like him to do that.
Well, I mean, I hope so because Dubas is a genius in cap relief, and he's hired someone who literally went to school for it. So they have two experts in cap in
capology.
Yeah, in capology they call it. So I'd hope that they were, they were experts in what they're doing. So I don't understand how people, these, pun intended, these armchair GMs in comment sections all over social media that literally criticize what they're doing. They didn't act like they don't know what they're doing. I'm pretty sure they know what they're doing. We're not talking about what's his face in Ottawa here.
Oh, what's wrong with Pierre Dorian?
Or Pierre Dorian, yeah.
As for Sparks' tenure with the Leafs, I was very critical of him last year. I really think the Leafs, if they would have had McElhaney as their backup, they probably would have had home ice over Boston, and maybe it would have been a difference in the playoffs. But again, Sparks.
It looks bad now. It looks very bad now because we only gave him 1 year.
But I mean, they had to give Sparks a chance. I mean, he was an MVP for them in the AHL the year before that, for the Marlies. So they had to give him a chance, but it didn't work out, and they had to move on. Which
I think he's still. I think, to me, it's sad because I really wanted to see him break through, but after seeing this year, I'm sorry, but he's an AHL goalie for life. I don't think he's ever going to be more than an AHL goalie. He's just one of those players that makes the he'll get drafted to an NHL team, plays the NHL and that AHL, and that's as good as he's ever going to get.
So he's an AHL superstar, but like a backup to a third goalie.
Yeah, I'd say he'd be a third string goalie in case they really need it. And Vegas already has two goalies, so he's going to play that role in Vegas.
Segueing into that, the Leafs have two professional tryouts already lined up. Michael Neuwirth as a goaltender, and Matt Reed, who longtime Philadelphia Flyer last year, was on the Minnesota Wild. So what do you think about those two PTOs there?
Well, Neuwirth is interesting because I think it's going to be a battle in camp between him and Hutchinson to see who's going to back up Anderson for sure.
I think it's good competition.
Yeah. As for Matt Reed, I don't see him signing with the team whatsoever. That's going to be a camp tryout, and then season starts, bye-bye.
Matt Reed scored 4 goals in a game one time.
Wow. I can do it on our team.
You don't have any faith that Matt Reed...
Where's he going to play on our team?
Hey, I mean, he could try to battle Agostino and Aberg for a bottom 6 role.
No, do not give Mike Babcock the chance to have his hands on Matt Reed. Do not.
He's going to play first line with Austin Matthews. He gets on the team.
I think he'd be the Tim Connolly of the Marlies. He'd be that veteran leadership. Or the Rich Clune, you know what I mean? He's going to be that guy for the Marlies if he stays.
I think Matt Reed's got a little bit more offensive potential than Rich Clune ever had.
Then he can go somewhere else to play.
But I like the Neuwirth signing, I guess you can call it right now. But
Yeah.
I actually like Neuwirth. Like he's a good backup goalie. Like early in his career, everybody thought he was going to be a number one for Washington. Didn't happen. Came to Buffalo for a year, played all right on the tanking team that was, and then he went over to the Flyers and was one of their 9 goalies that played last year.
To me, I think he performs good with a team in front of him. If a team is not competing in front of him, is not doing good, he's not going to do good. But if he has a team like the Leafs, who have proven the last 3 years that they're a playoff team for sure, going forward, and they're just getting better, I think he has the ability to do good.
And with an improved decor. I think if he was coming into last season's decor, I would say he's in a lot of trouble. But they've definitely improved that decor, and I think he can be decent in front of them with the changes that they've made. So I that was actually pretty interesting when I saw that Neuwirth was going on a PTO for the Leafs. I think that could be a very underrated pickup for them if he signs.
I hope so, and that's my guess, is him and Hutchinson are going to battle in camp for that number 2 spot. I don't see Kazimierz Kaskisio making the team at all. I think he's going to have another year starting goalie from the Marlies, with him battling for a starting job with Justin Wool, because Justin Wool now can play and is eligible to play in the AHL, and he's one of our goalie prospects. And that's actually going to be a big battle, because also Ian Scott, who was goaltender of the year in the WHL this past year and led Prince Albert Raiders to win the WHL Cup this year with that incredible goals against average, something ridiculous of 1.2 something. It was really, really insane. Insane stats he had this year. So that guy is way past WHL ready to be on an AHL squad now. So Ian Scott, Justin Wool, and Kaskisuo are going to be battling out to see who's going to make that Marley starting goalie, and the Leafs have a lot riding, because I think they're in the process now to slowly groom the next person to take over Anderson when the time comes, and that's either going to be Wool or Ian Scott.
Yeah, those are definitely 2 prospects that the Leafs have not had good luck with goalie prospects.
Absolutely
in the
not,
last
or
decade.
we've traded them away.
Yeah, so I think they finally have 2 guys that they might be able to hang their hat on.
Yeah.
And at least one of them will work out. Hopefully not like the Rask and Justin Pogge thing worked out for them years ago. But
we're doing it right, though. We're not pushed. We're doing it right this time. We're slowly building them, rather than if you bring up Pogge. Pogge we called up right away, didn't work out. Went back to the Marlies and then failed hard on the Marlies. James Reimer, I mean, he had potential, but he just was there. He was on the Leafs at the wrong time. Right place, wrong time. So he never really got a chance to develop, and they fast-tracked him as well. I think that was the problem with our former goalies. They fast-tracked way too much with the goalies. So the fact that Dewis believes in slow building these guys and will give the chance for these 2 goalies to progress and slowly build, we'll have time to do it, because Anderson is coming up in a couple of years on his next contract, and I'm sure we're going to sign him long-term until he's in his mid-30s, and I'm pretty sure by then we'll have someone groomed and ready to go as his backup, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, no, I agree with what you just said there. The Leafs also have 8 preseason games to look forward to, I guess you could say.
I don't watch the preseason, really. I'll catch some of the highlights, and if I can watch a game, I'll watch it, but you watch preseason games, you see maybe 4 or 5 top players.
You don't like the split squad?
Oh man, the split squad are horrible. I don't know which one to watch, and you don't get the starting lineups till the day of, and I don't know. I enjoy it because it's hockey, right? And you've been waiting so long for hockey to come back. But you look at the teams and you're like, hey, I know half of these guys are going to be on the Marlies. Some of these guys are probably going back to the CHL. So
Yep.
It's interesting, but it's good to see who's on your team and how they play in an NHL environment. But I don't take too much into it, because obviously it doesn't mean anything. It's just basically like a showcase of your farm team.
It's just like how I feel about NFL preseason. Half those guys are going to get cut. It's just I don't put any stock into somebody's preseason record. But
sometimes we beat your team preseason and kill them 38-3. I'm like, that's fine. We'll see what happens in the regular season.
Yeah. So they're playing Ottawa, Buffalo, Montreal, and Detroit twice each.
Standard.
So their opening night game is going to be at home versus the Ottawa Senators or the Ottawa Toronto Scraps.
Yeah. Oh, man. That's going to be... I feel bad for Ottawa come that game. I don't see this being a close game. Ottawa has taken us to close games this past season. I have a feeling this is going to be like, if you guys remember the Toronto and Winnipeg game 2 years ago, where the Leafs spanked them like 7-2 in the first game. I think we're going to get a repeat of that.
Oh, man. And all the former Leafs returning. Are they all going to get a tribute video at the same time?
Probably. No. Who are you going to give a tribute video to?
Ron Hainsey?
No.
Tyler Ennis?
No.
DJ Smith?
Probably.
And who was the other one?
DJ Smith. Your highlight package is you getting yelled at by Mike Babcock.
Who was the other former Leaf that went there?
Connor
Brown.
Yeah, Connor Brown. That was sad because he was a Toronto boy. I could see maybe him getting something small. Or they just package everyone up in one.
They are.
Like,
they're going to put them all on the screen on a graphic.
Thank you to all the former Toronto Maple Leaf members and teammates.
They're going to try to find a picture with all those guys in it. Good luck.
It's like there was one. It's like they find one picture. It was like the day before they all left, and they were all at the bar at the same time, coincidentally.
Yeah.
They all took a picture together.
Or like Dubas called them all in to be like, "Hey, you're all gone. You're all cut."
Here, can you guys go Can you guys just squeeze together for a picture? We need it for the tribute video.
And notable games during the regular season, I got their schedule for their rivalry games. Montreal, they play October 26th, February 8th, and April 4th. I'm missing a game in there. I don't know where the fourth one went. But the April 4th game is the last game of the regular season, so that's going to be interesting.
It's usually either Montreal or Ottawa we faced in the last game.
You play Buffalo on November 29th, back-to-back, November 29th, November 30th.
Ooh.
And then December 17th and February 16th. So for once, the Leafs and Sabres games, the first one isn't until like February usually for whatever
Brandon,
reason.
I think we should head to that Buffalo game in Buffalo.
I'll pass. Boston, so the great Boston team that knocked the Leafs out in the playoffs, so the Leafs will get a chance for redemption. October 19th.
Owners of the Toronto Maple Leaf, yeah.
Yeah, October 19th, October 22nd, November 15th, and March 14th. So
played them twice.
So 3 of the 4 games will be played before the middle of November against the Bruins. So they're getting their games over quickly against them. And then they've got one late. And then Ottawa, obviously the home opener, February 1st, February 15th, and March 28th. So they play the first game of the season, then they don't play again until February, and then they play 3 games within a month.
So they have time to rest up from the beating they're going to get handed to them. Gotcha.
Sure. And I didn't check to see how many of those were on Hockey Night in Canada. I'm sure the Leafs have more Hockey Night in Canada games than anybody else. What else is new? And the last part of the Leafs news, we might as well talk about it since it's, been lingering around for, since feels like forever now, is the Marner contract. And as you start talking about it, I just got to play the crickets.
Yeah, because nothing's happening. I'm just saying. I want to make a statement here, if I may.
Sure.
I think this list is still accurate. I haven't really updated it, but to all you people out there who are on this train of let's just shit on Mitch Marner about the contract situation and not anybody else, I want you to take a listen here of the notable names who are still RFAs out there. Excuse me. Patrick Laine, Kyle Connor, Mikko Rantanen, Pierre-Luc Dubois, Travis Konechny, Ivan Provorov, Braden Point, Joel Eriksson-Ek, Adrian Kempt, Michael Dalcol, Matthew Tkachuk, Charlie McAvoy, although something's going on with that McAvoy contract situation and it's weird, Ivan Barbashev, Nikolai Goldobin, Brennan Perlini, Jesse Puljujarvi, which there's something going on with that too, Anthony DeAngelo, and Julius Honka. All of them are RFAs and don't have contracts, but people still like to just point fingers at Mitch Marner and say, this is what we're talking about. it's almost like they act like he's the only one that's not signed, and people are giving crap to the Leafs and giving crap to Marner. That whole list I just mentioned there? No one says a peep about any of them.
I think what the problem is here is people think that Marner is going to set the market for everybody else. So everybody else is like waiting for the Leafs to figure out something with him or waiting for him to sign. They're basically saying like, okay, can you hurry up so the rest of us can start signing our guys? But, I mean, realistically, you look at a lot of those guys like Laine, Rantanen, Connor, like those are very good players. And I'm intrigued if this grinds out to training camp. Like, are these guys just going to sign like before the day of this regular season?
It's crazy you say that because you know what's funny? I understand setting the market, but a guy like Michael Dalcol shouldn't be waiting for Mitch Marner to sign. You're not going to make $10 million, Michael Dalcol, okay? Or like Ivan Barbashev or Goudobin or Perlini. You guys aren't making $10 million, so why are they waiting for the market to be set?
I have no idea with those guys, but like the top end guys, it just seems like a stalemate. Like Aho, that offer sheet, the dumb offer sheet from Montreal. And then Carolina just said thank you, so we don't have to try to negotiate with them. So that one got done, but that's really the only one that's gotten done out of these big names.
You know what's funny, too? The one comedic factor out of all of this is Jesse Puljujarvi saying, I'm not coming back over to North America, Oilers, until you trade me. I will play for this Finnish team until you do.
Yeah, that seems like an ending to a bad marriage and a bad draft pick.
Whoa, my God. I'm like, in a way, I'm like, well, you know what? Good. You know, like, Oilers have had so many top 5 picks over the years. You know what? Good. They don't need another one. They would have traded him anyways.
But again, like, he's still unproven. Like, Marner has had 2 good seasons. I mean...
But he's not even waiting for a contract. He just wants to be traded. And I guarantee you if he was traded to another team, he'd sign in 2 seconds.
Probably. I have something interesting from Andrew Berkshire of Sportsnet in a tweet today. He said, I just think his agents and the people giving him advice are severely overvaluing him.
Mm-hmm. I think so too.
Was the tweet.
He's not worth McDavid money. Like, those two, like the guy on that Too Much podcast, whoever he is, just Joshua Marshall guy, says the Islanders are reporting to prepare offer sheet Mitch Marner with a deal that would include 7 years at $13 million, which A, doesn't make sense because his camp is not looking for long term, so I don't know where he's getting 7 years at. B, he is not worth McDavid money. I hate these people that are coming out and saying, oh, he's going to get 13 mil or 14 mil on another team. I'm like, no, he's not, because A, a team is not going to pay him that much money.
And it's just like, again, it's not the way the NHL is today. It's not in his favor. They get paid. The people that get paid are centers and goal scorers. Yeah. He is a winger and a playmaker, so it is not in his favor. And McDavid, I'm sure, looking at the contracts now, he wishes that he would have probably waited or signed a short-term deal because he probably would be making over $15 million the way Panarin's getting paid and what Marner might be getting paid. But I can't wrap my head around paying Marner $13 million.
And it did make sense, too. I don't know who this goofball from this podcast was. The Islanders only have 8.6 in cap. And they still haven't signed Beaulieu or Dalcol yet. Oh, and how is Dalcol waiting for the market to be set?
Oh, I mean, they just signed Anders Lee because he was like their last option as their captain. They almost lost their second captain in 2 years.
It just doesn't make sense. I mean, Tavares even came out a couple days ago. He says he believes the right thing will happen in Marner's negotiations with the team, although there is less than 5 weeks remaining till the offseason, or less than 5 weeks remaining in the offseason, sorry. Tavares is confident Marner will sign soon with the Maple Leafs. As far as Tavares' personal thoughts, he says, Mitch is obviously an important player for our team, just the type of guy he is as well. We really count on him, so obviously we want to get him there for day one of camp and get moving forward and continue to this kind of build thing to work towards the ultimate goal. Camp starts September 13th. So I thought I read somewhere that there was a clause in his contract, or there's a clause in the RFA deal that he was allowed to appear for a training camp. I thought I read that somewhere, and I'm like, that wouldn't make sense because wouldn't Nylander have signed, or when Nylander been allowed to be at training camp?
Yeah, that thing.
So I don't know. It's again, it's still touchy right now with the whole like what's going on. We don't know what's real and what's not. There's so many things that come out of this. People are saying it's his dad. People are saying it's his agent. People are saying it's Marner and he's greedy. People are saying Dubas is under offering him. It's like I hear so many things. We can all just sit here and be pun intended armchair GMs and say these things, but we don't. At the end of the day, we don't know what's going on behind the scenes. We don't know.
No, and I mean, if I'm Marner, I look at Toronto and the hockey hotbed that it is.
Yeah.
Whatever my salary is, I'm going to make so much more in endorsements for whatever company wants to endorse me.
Because we're the richest team in the NHL, the salary bonus, you're getting the most salary bonus any out of any team in the NHL. Like, the bonuses will top anything.
Like, I know it's a business, and he's trying to do it for the NHLPA as well, and the agents are involved when they want their piece of the pie, but it's just like... Yeah. At what point do you just say, okay, you know what, this team is built for a long playoff run, you know.
Yeah.
Do I deserve Austin Matthews money? I don't know. But, like, should I be asking for more than him? Probably not. Should I just take somewhere in between, you know, Matthews and Nylander, maybe in the $10 million range, so that we have a team that can compete for a lot of years? Or do you really just want your money?
I'm going to go with the thing is that it's the young players now that want short-term deals because they know that before they turn 27, they can make a lot more money.
Yeah, they're not just going for the 8-year deal at 22 anymore. They're going for like a 4-year deal. So then they hit 27, boom, they get another massive deal.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's smart in terms of that, but I think this also comes down to Dubas having to be like, okay, so I kind of have to prove to Shanahan I got the balls not to budge and just going to budget every young guy that comes in here and wants a big contract.
Yeah. So,
you know, Dubas also has the job of, you know, keeping his ground. He's like, okay, maybe I want you at 7 or 8 for 9.5 a year, and I'm not going to budge. So,
you can't keep giving in, especially if you're the Toronto Maple Leafs. You need to sell people on the fact that
you got, like,
people are going to take pay cuts.
Yeah, he got heavy criticized with the Nylander thing because and people were just blinded because the year one was like almost $11 million, but now he's getting paid $6.9 for the next 5 or 6 years, and I don't see how that's be overpaying for Nylander.
With the cap going up, except for this year. But
you wait
the
3
way
years,
it's
that'll
going,
be the dirtiest contract on the Leafs.
It will, especially because he'll this year he's going into a full season. He'll be a lot better than last year. I mean, he was already better at the World Championships for Sweden. We already saw glimpses of what he was the year before during that tournament. So everybody's got to calm down and just realize that him going into training camp...
Let's all pump the brakes.
He's going to go into a full training camp, be with his team. He'll be a lot better this year. And that contract will be a steal in 2 years. I agree with that. But I think it's time for us to take a break, and we'll be back after this short commercial break here on the Armchair GM Sports Network.
Carmine's Pizzeria Italiano, serving Italian pizzas made with the freshest top quality ingredients, with loaded subs and our famous chicken wings, winners of the 2017 Reader's Choice Awards. Open daily, located on the corner of Drummond Road and Dunn Street. Available for call-ahead pickup or delivery. Debit and credit accepted for both. So call us at 905-374-4400. Carmine's Pizzeria Italiano, way too good. Marcel Dion Inc. Come in, check out our store, and meet Hockey Hall of Famer Marcel Dion himself. We have wall-to-wall NFL, MLB, and NHL licensed products, and all kinds of collectibles. We specialize in autographed sports memorabilia. If you don't see what you're looking for, just ask, and we will find it for you. So next time you need a great gift idea for that sports fanatic, or you just need to add to your personal collection, come visit us first. You won't be disappointed. Marcel Dion Inc., 905-357-7678, located on Montrose Road, Niagara Falls. Attention job seekers. If you're currently looking for work in the Niagara region, you owe it to yourself to check out the services provided by the Niagara Employment Help Center, located at 6100 Thoroldstone Road, Niagara Falls. Free services include resource area open to the public, resume and cover letter writing, community resource and referral information, local labor market information, job search strategies, assistance with clarifying employment and training and career goals, employment counseling and job search support, second career information and registration assistance, and check out our available workshops under the events calendar on our website for more details. That's www.ehc.on.ca. The Niagara Employment Help Center. Chip and Charlie's, where the locals go. Fun, friendly, and entertaining staff, you're not just a customer, you're family. Lots of TVs, amazing food, and always a great time. Open daily 11 a.m. to 2 a.m. Call now at 905-371-3428 for inquiries and reservations. Chip and Charlie's, it's where the locals go. You're listening to the Armchair GM Sports Network.
All right, guys, welcome back to the Armchair GM Sports Network. And yes, the Sabre Dance, which only means one thing, is that we are going to talk about tanks today. The Buffalo Sabres. Legacy of failure, as we can call them. Anyways, enough of me ripping on my team. Let's talk about the good things that the Sabres have done this offseason. So,
That was good? I'm joking. Go ahead.
Anyways, actually, I want to talk about this because it's the newest amount of news for the Sabres. Defenseman Rasmus Ristolainen, who has been a subject of trade talks for probably the last year or so, came out on a Finland radio station and basically was talking about how his feelings are, how he's felt about playing hockey in the last couple of years. And he said this: "I cannot say anything other than the fact that on September 12th, I will be on one of the NHL team's training camps."
What?
"I haven't been able to help the team win. Recent seasons have been tough, and I haven't been able to enjoy hockey." Oh my God, here we go again.
Oh, yeah.
Here we go again with this. The same thing with Ryan O'Reilly, saying that he lost his passion for hockey, and the laughingstock that Buffalo is now, the fact that Ryan O'Reilly basically won every single award at the NHL, award ceremony. The table almost broke. There were so many awards on it. And it brings up the question of why Rasmus Ristolainen has requested a trade. And again, it's just the fact that the guy has not been on a winning scenario team and or culture with this organization since he was drafted. When he was drafted, he came into a bad situation from the start, and ever since he's been here, the team has done nothing but lose. So obviously, he is not going to be having fun. I mean, what person who enjoys playing sports wants to lose every single year? I don't think anybody can sit here and say that they're happy with, being a minus 40 every season. Mm-hmm. But again, Rasmus Ristolainen was brought in and expected to play above what he's capable of. When he came in, was projected to be a number one defenseman for Buffalo, and he's played that role since he's been drafted. And I just don't think that he is a number one defenseman in the NHL. He's probably better suited as a number 3 type defenseman, but again, on Buffalo, they basically had to throw him into that role, playing with, this terrible decor that we've had for so many years now, that of course his numbers are going to look worse than what he's supposed to be, because he's playing above what he should be playing. He's averaging 24.5 minutes of ice time, and he finished with a league worst minus 41 rating this year. The guy still put up 43 points in 78 games, but it's just like...
And he scored a highlight of the night goal.
Yeah, and did that little... His celebrations are top-notch. But regardless, if you put Ristolainen, or if he gets traded, I think it's a big mistake, just for the fact that I know he's going to succeed on another team, and everybody around the team knows that if he goes to another team and plays in the second pair, he's going to be a very, very good defenseman for a lot of years.
Welcome to my world.
And again...
That's all I'm going to say.
And again, since he's been drafted in 2013, what have we had since then for us to be like, he's really holding us back? Like, what? They have not had anything to build around him to make him successful. And he signed for 3 more years at a cap hit of 5.4. For a guy like Ristolainen and his potential, I feel like that's a very good cap hit that somebody would be willing to take on. I don't believe whatsoever that we would have to retain any sort of salary in a trade for that guy, because he's worth $5.4 million to somebody in a new, if he goes to a new scenario, just like a Ryan O'Reilly, what he did when he went to St. Louis in a new team, a new organization.
It kind of seems like he kind of needs to kind of see the bigger picture here. If he's talking like that, then I mean, if he's had no one to build around, look what they have now to build around. So like,
you have a number one defenseman in Rasmus Dahlin.
Yeah,
you
like
have
the team's is in a better shape now than it ever was in the last 5 years.
No, they're getting better, and God, no, I'm going to try to segue it into this topic, but my God, like, I don't know what the deal is with Jason Botterill, but he just wants to hoard defensemen. I don't know what is going on, but, like, we legitimately have 12 NHL defensemen on our roster right now.
Jeez.
Like, that are making pretty good amounts of money, and that are on one-way deals. Let me just pull it up to you here. So, I'm just... And we continue to pile up these defensemen for I don't know what reason. So you have Ristolainen, Bogosian, Scandella, Montour, McCabe re-signed for 2 more years as well.
Mm-hmm.
At 2.8, which I think is a very good cap hit for Jake McCabe. Matt Hunwick, Dahlin, Colin Miller, Casey Nelson, Lawrence Pilot, Henry Jokiharju, Will Borgen, who is a long shot to make the team, John Gilmore. So, like, there's so many defensemen on this team right now. And I'm looking at the guys that are making the most money. Ristolainen, Bogosian, Scandella. Like, I could see all 3 of those guys not even making this team being on this roster. I could see all 3 of those guys being gone.
I think the tough... Who would you say the tough one's going to be the move, Scandella or Bogosian?
Probably... I mean, there was rumors that Vancouver was interested in Bogosian earlier in this offseason. Those rumors have kind of fizzled away. But I think, the fact that Bogosian and Scandella are only on one-year deals, I think somebody would take.
They have to move them. You have 9 defensemen that could be on the NHL for sure.
And I mean, you go and acquire Colin Miller, which I think is a very good acquisition for a second-round pick.
Yeah. He's starting for sure.
I mean, the guy was a top 4 defenseman for Vegas the last 2 years on a very successful team. Make a very good cap hit of $3.8 million for the next 3 years. So Colin Miller is instantly on that team. You don't trade a first-round pick and Brendan Gooley, who is your top defensive prospect, for Brandon Montour if you don't believe in him as well long-term. So you're looking at 2 guys right there, and then obviously your prized possession in Rasmus Dahlin, he's on the team. Jake McCabe's most likely on the team. Casey Nelson is making only $800,000, so I mean, he's probably going to be in.
And that's 2-way, correct? So that he's able to play in Roch for the time being until they figure it out, or carried as an extra defenseman.
But again, only making $800,000, like you can keep him on the roster as a 7th defenseman, Casey Nelson. But like outside of that, like I'm looking at like Lawrence Pilot is another guy that played for the Sabres last year. I think he has potential to be at least a number 5 defenseman in the NHL. Then they go and trade for Henry Jokiharju. So they trade Alex Nylander, who was a 8th overall pick for us a few years ago. Obviously was not developing well in Buffalo. His play in Rochester was shaky. His effort was questioned, and the way he left with what he was saying about how he thinks that he should have been playing on Buffalo already. I mean, I'm kind of really happy with that trade. I think Jokiharju has a lot of potential. He was playing big-time minutes for Chicago under Quenneville before he was let go, and then after Quenneville was let go, he just kind of fizzled out and then went back to the AHL and played 30 games down there for the Ice Hogs. But I think there's a lot there with Jokiharju. He's a first-round pick as well for Chicago. So
yeah, he's got a lot of potential, that kid. I was shocked for Chicago to let that guy walk, for sure.
Especially after, like, 1 season.
Right.
And, again, I think it was with the new coaching staff, he just kind of fell off to the wayside after Quenneville was let go. But, again, you add him to the mix, and it's like, okay, like, I take all those guys over Bogosian and Scandella. Like, I don't want either of those guys on the team, especially Bogosian making $5.1 million and Scandella making $4 million. Like, neither of those guys I want on the team to start training camp. Neither of them. And then you add Ristolainen in there, and it's like, okay, like, yeah, he's expendable, but I don't want to just give the guy away for free like I want to do with Bogosian and Scandella, because Ristolainen still has a lot of value within the league.
Right.
And he's still young enough where his potential, you put him in a number 3 defenseman role, or even behind somebody who can, carry the load and not have to have everything come from him. He could be a very good defenseman. He will be a very good defenseman, but I just don't want to give the guy away unless you're getting a second-line center, which is something that we desperately need right now. And I just don't... if they're not going to get that type of value for him, I don't want to do a Ryan O'Reilly and just have to get rid of him for the sake of getting rid of him, because that has not worked out whatsoever.
I think for sure he just needs kind of like cool his jets, rethink about what you're saying here, and kind of look at the bigger picture of what's actually happening in Buffalo, which is actually good things are happening in Buffalo.
I mean, you look at that decor. You put Ristolainen, you have Ristolainen, Montour, Colin Miller, Rasmus Dahlin, and then you can throw in McCabe or Nelson or Yoki Haru and Pilot. Like, that's a good decor. Like that, I'm really happy with that. But again, if they can find some way to get Bogosian and Scandella off of this team, because I just really feel like having those guys on the team is gonna hurt.
Kind of like holding it down.
It's gonna hold back like a Yoki Haru or somebody else. Like I feel like one of those guys has to go. Like, there's just so many defensemen on this team that I have no idea what they're gonna do. Like, if Ristolainen is a long-term plan, I don't know, but it's just all signs are pointing to Ristolainen getting dealt with this new stuff coming out now, and it's But again, I'm worried about the return they're going to get, because I just don't feel like they're going to get the value that he warrants, just like the Ryan O'Reilly trade. But again, I don't know what the deal is with hoarding these right-handed defensemen. I don't know if they think that
you're stealing the market.
That some team is just going to come out of nowhere and be like, "Hey, you took all the right-handed defensemen. Let me trade for one." And it's like, okay, well, let me give you Scandella or Bogosian, and then they hang up the phone. Like, I just don't know where that's going to go.
Like, oh yeah, we'll see. We'll get back to you.
Literally, just give me a roll of hockey tape for both of them, and you can have them both.
A roll of hockey tape.
Please, just take both of them. Bogosian is a glass house anyway, and Scandella, on a bad team, he could play on a bad team. Like, Vancouver could use him right now. Like, I'm just thinking off the top of my head, teams that could use defensemen. Although they just signed Tyler Myers for a ton of money, and forget the other defenseman they got, but. So that's the Sabres defenseman dilemma.
Dilemma.
Small news: Linus Ullmark re-signed for 1 year, so
Woo!
He'll at $1.3 million. So he'll back up Carter Hutton until.
For you guys that don't know, the guy with the Minions goalie mask.
Yes, until Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen develops, which he's
such a fun name to say, Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen.
Yes, and again, he's still 20 years old. He just had surgery, so he's going to be a few years away. But Ullmark is a solid goalie that can fill the spot, and Carter Hutton better pick it up this year, because he was bad in the second half of the season last year. What else? Oh, the signing of Marcus Johansson. Now, I really like the signing, and I know Bruins fans were upset that they didn't re-sign him. And I think at $4.5 million for 2 years, I think that's a good deal for Marcus Johansson, considering the wingers that were available. He was one of the top wingers that were left on the market, and I feel like he probably could have got more money. But for $4.5 million, he's a guy that can go up and down your lineup, and he's played on good teams.
He had a really good playoff.
Again, he was one of the Bruins' best players in the playoffs.
Yeah,
and he's proven that he can move up and down the lineup in his many years with Washington and a couple with New Jersey as well. But he's a very good player that you can slot in your second line, and you can play second or third line or fill in a first line role if there's an injury. But I really like Marcus Johansson. Getting guys that have playoff experience on this team is something that's very much needed.
Right.
So I like the Marcus Johansson signing a lot.
I like it a lot too. That was a very, very good signing by you guys. I was shocked that he actually didn't re-sign with the Bruins. I thought for sure he would.
I just don't think the Bruins were willing to offer him 4.5. I guess they were willing to give it to some of their other players that I know,
like
Danton,
Connor Clifton,
Danton Heinens of the world.
All right.
And obviously, guys like Backus and those types of contracts are hurting them as well. So I'm sure they probably would have liked to keep him, but they probably just couldn't afford giving him $4.5 million. Zemgus Girgensons is back for one more year at 1.6. So again, this guy has been with the Sabres since they drafted him in, I believe it was 2012, with Mikhail Grigorenko were those 2 first-round picks that year. But, Zemgus Girgensons, fourth-line center, whatever. Guy doesn't bring much offensively, but it is what it is. They re-signed Johan Larsson, which I don't know how you can bring back both these guys, because they're basically the exact same player between Johan Larsson and Girgensons. Like, one of them should have been gone. Like, I don't understand bringing back 2 guys that do the exact same thing or don't do the exact same thing. They're both fourth-line centers.
It's all about the depth, man. Talking to preaching to the choir here about depth.
These guys are just good penalty killers, and that's it. They're not. If they get 20 points this season, it'll be, a miracle between these guys. I just don't understand bringing back both of them. But whatever, it happened.
You know what I think it is? I think maybe you guys are this is going to be you guys are doing that full on. We're pushing. We're getting the playoffs no matter what kind of year. And you'll need either pieces for A, injuries, or B, at the deadline to pick up, you know what I mean? Like pick up a rental.
I get it, but both these guys have been through all the losing. I would have rather just picked up a guy that's had playoff experience and that, actually knows what it takes to get to the playoffs. Girgensons and Larson are both just career losers. I'm sorry, but both of them have been through all the bad times that this team has been through. Both of them add the exact same thing. Why not go find another center that can do probably as better, if not better, than what they're doing? And they're both making 1 point. You're telling me you can't find a fourth-line center/winger that can do more than Johan Larsson at $1.5 million? I would rather have had Pontus Aberg and Kenny Agostino at $700,000.
Soon to become Leaf legends.
Sure. But again, Johan Larsson making 1.5, I just think that's a huge overpayment for a guy that literally is just a penalty killer and will not put up more than 20 points this year. Especially when you already have one in Zemgus Girgensons. It just makes zero sense to me.
I cannot disagree with that.
Anyways, moving on. Moving on from that to the Sabres 50-year patch. So this is interesting.
Ooh.
We are unveiling the 50th anniversary patch from breaking news from the Buffalo News. And it's going to be the 50-year patch that I've posted before. And then they're also going to have another patch that has the 1970s look. The patches, the Sabres previously wore commemorative patches in 1989 to 90 and 94-95 to recognize the 20th and 25th anniversaries. So there were leaks that there were going to be other patches as well, maybe from the era of the black and white and the slug jerseys as well. Those have not been confirmed, but I would love to see those become patches as well for 50th anniversary.
That'd be cool.
So those are just the patches on the shoulders. As far as the jersey controversy, there was one leak that kind of looked like a Notre Dame Fighting Irish jersey.
Yeah, I saw that.
I thought it was okay. I had mixed feelings about it. I would have rather it have been the royal blue if they're really going to do something like that, but it seems like they're not going in that direction, so we'll have to see. I mean, whatever it is, I'm probably still going to buy it because I'm the dumb Sabres fan that they like to cater to, and I'll buy anything that they come out with, unfortunately, and stick through this team through all the no good and the all bad. So that's what the logo and the patch scenario is looking at right now. I'm still waiting. Season's almost coming here. You'd think that they would have something already released for this anniversary jersey, but I guess not. We're going to have a prospects challenge at the Harbor Center, which is across from from where we play at KeyBank Arena on September 6th to the 9th. The teams that are going to be participating with us are the New Jersey Devils, Boston Bruins, and Pittsburgh Penguins. So they're just going to be bringing a bunch of prospect teams to play against each other for a few games to give them
That's
some,
interesting. I like that.
give them some experience, I guess, playing against other teams instead of just having a development camp and playing against your own guys. Actually playing in competitive games against other teams' prospects. I think that's probably a good thing.
Man, I actually really like that idea.
Yep. Dylan Cousins, the first round pick this year, he was injured at development camp and had surgery on his left thumb, so he's going to be out for 2 to 3 months. So he's most likely going back to Lethbridge anyway.
Yeah, I didn't think he was going to make the team, but although that was a stud pick in the draft, I can't see him making the team out of camp this year.
No. And sorry, the team is now moved. I forget where the team is.
Lethbridge is now in. Did they move to Winnipeg?
Yeah, I kind of feel like they did.
Yeah, I think it's Winnipeg. I'm pretty sure.
Or it was Kootenay. I can't remember if it's Kootenay.
Or Kootenay. I know it was Kootenay.
It was Kootenay that moved. That was my fault because him and Ryan, because they interviewed Reinhardt, who was also a former Kootenay Ice player with Cousins. So yes, it's Kootenay that is moving.
I think they're staying with Ice. I think they're the Winnipeg Ice, which kind of makes sense.
Yeah, because since Winnipeg is ice 363 days of the year.
Yeah.
So yeah, Dylan Cousins expected to have a full recovery, but he did have surgery on his left thumb because of the injury at development camp, so he's out 2 to 3 months. I didn't see him making the team anyway, but this probably solidifies his role going back to the juniors, which I'm okay with.
Mm-hmm.
The Sabres have 5 nationally televised games this year, which is a rarity for us teams that aren't the Toronto Maple Leafs. They get to be on national TV every Saturday.
Just to confirm, it is Winnipeg Ice.
Yes, thank you. So they have Friday, November 8th versus the Tampa Bay Lightning in Stockholm, Sweden, as part of the NHL Global Series.
Oh, yeah. My favorite time of year, the Global Series.
So, besides your sarcastic remarks, I think it'll actually be pretty cool to see Rasmus Dahlin playing in Sweden since he's become a national treasure there for them.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, Tampa's a powerhouse team, so they'll probably smoke us, but the fact that we have some Swedish players on our team, it'll be cool for them, the Swedish fans, to get a taste of that. Tuesday, December 10th versus St. Louis.
Oh.
We don't need to go into any more of that other than Ryan O'Reilly is coming back and will probably bring all his trophies back just to rub them in our face. Yeah, tribute video. I don't think he got one last year. He's definitely not getting one now.
Oh.
Tuesday, December 17th at Toronto. So that game is a NBCSN nationally televised game. Matthews and Eichel, I assume, is the reason for that, since the American fans want to tune in to see their 2 all-star superstar players playing against each other. Since the last time that was on that last year was a huge success, that game where Matthews and Eichel basically took over the game. That was the NBCSN game with Eichel scoring 2 goals and then that Austin Matthews goal in overtime.
Oh, yeah.
But that was sure exciting for the American fans to see, those 2 U.S. studs playing and having great games. So they were back with that game this year. Thursday, February 6th against Detroit. Okay, I guess. Larkin against Eichel, another 2 Americans. This one kind of caught me off guard, the last one. Wednesday, February 26th at Colorado. Now, I don't really understand why that game is a NBCSN national televised game.
McKinnon versus Eichel? Or McKinnon versus Eichel?
I guess. Maybe they just want to,
I mean, it's a pretty good showcase. You think about it. Eichel, McKinnon, Rantanen, Skinner, Reinhardt, Landeskog, you know what I mean? Like,
I guess it's 2 really good young teams, I guess.
Yeah.
But there's no sort of rivalry there or anything.
No.
I mean, the only thing that I can think of is Zadorov and that whole Eichel thing last year.
Yeah, I guess so.
That's probably about it. But yeah, 2 young, exciting teams. I don't know. I kind of feel like they could have picked a different game for them to showcase the Sabres more rather than at Colorado. But it is what it is. It might be an exciting game. Maybe it'll prove me wrong. But so yeah, those are the 5 national televised games for the Sabres this year. The rivalry games, they got Montreal on October 9th, January 30th, March 12th, and March 24th. They get the Leafs on November 29th and November 30th on that back-to-back. And then December 17th and February 16th, as we discussed. And then Boston, the dreaded Bruins, on December 27th, December
All right.
29th, March 13th, and November 21st as well. So, sorry, November 21st is the first one. Then basically the home and home in December, and then March.
Not bad.
We opened up against the Bruins last year as a home opener and lost that game, did not score a goal. So, hopefully those games go better than that.
Let's hope so.
Let's hope so. But that's it for my Sabres news.
Yeah.
I'm really interested in this whole Ristolainen scenario.
I'm intrigued now. I really want to know what that's an interesting thing to say. I will be on an NHL team's camp. Okay. You're still on Buffalo.
If they trade him for Puljujarvi, like, I'm not happy with that trade. Like, I'm sorry. It's just, I'm not at all happy with that trade. Like, I think Edmonton wins that trade hands down. Like, I think Puljujarvi still has potential to be a good player, but I don't want to give away a guy Rasmus Ristolainen's caliber for nothing.
You can give him Scandella and Bogosian for him.
Yeah, that's the dream.
Get some cap relief. Then the $9 million that you get cap relief, you give to Puljujarvi. There you go.
Yeah, I mean, if Ken Holland's that dumb, I mean, sure, but I don't think. I think Ken Holland is.
I mean, if they're their old GM.
Yeah, I mean, if Peter Chiarelli was there, that deal quite possibly could happen. But
with Edmonton's first round pick.
Sure, but with Ken Holland at the helm, I'm not even gonna get my hopes up. That's not happening.
Yeah,
but we might as well get into the next part of the show, and that is the Niagara Ice Dogs.
Woo!
And there we go. That's right. This is the portion of the show where we talk about the Niagara Ice Dogs.
Hometown, baby!
Hometown Niagara Ice Dogs. And before we get into them, I just want to give a quick shout out to the Ridge Film House, a licensed theater in the heart of beautiful Ridgeway, a truly unique movie-going experience, one of our sponsors as well. So, as far as the Niagara Ice Dogs go, we had the most recent news, which was the trade with the Owen Sound Attack. We traded Matthew Phillip to Owen Sound for Jackson Doherty and a 6th-round selection in 2021. So, I don't know much about Jackson Doherty.
I thought I had something here on him. Nope, didn't say anything on it.
But it's good. It's good that the Ice Dogs are accumulating draft picks since they traded away all of the draft picks except for their 2nd-round pick.
Right, and I mean they had to with that.
When you
that year they went for it all. I mean, you kind of have to in that case, especially the OHL. That's kind of what happens. The team will get rid of the farm to go for it.
Yeah, so. I mean Jackson Doherty. He played 2 years for Owen Sound. First year, 53 games, 10 points.
The name looks familiar, man. I can't put my finger on it.
And the second year, he had 13 points in 66 games. So he's more of a stay-at-home defenseman. He's not really going to be the guy to put up a lot of points. Which again, I'm okay if he's a solid defensive defenseman. I don't know why they had to give up on Matthew Phillip. I thought he was a good player for the Ice Dogs, but I guess maybe they valued getting the 6th-round pick.
Yeah.
But
I don't even know what a 6th-round pick in the OHL even is worth.
Yeah, it's tough because every year they have to restock the shelves almost, basically. Excuse me. So this is his last year of eligibility for the OHL.
We'll see what happens.
So we had that trade. Also, not to be... I can't even talk right now. I'm laughing so much. Not to be confused with the baseball player for the New York Yankees, Giancarlo Stanton. The Ice Dogs have selected Swiss defenseman in the CHL import draft, Giancarlo Stanton.
So close.
I've read the comments when this first happened, because this was June 27th this happened, so we haven't talked about them in a while. But everybody was like, I thought they just said Giancarlo Stanton. So no, we did
and
not.
he's committed too.
Yeah, we did not get the baseball slugger from the New York Yankees. Okay.
Yeah, he signed a they call it a standard player agreement, and there'll be a training camp later this month. And he was selected in the first round, 47th overall in the CHL import draft, which is interesting because the import draft, how a lot of people don't know really how it works in the CHL. They have their regular draft, and then players of age that can play in the CHL, they have an import draft from the other leagues in Europe to bring over. Now, the thing is, you can draft someone. You can even draft maybe like a high first-round pick in the import draft, but they don't necessarily have to commit and come over and play. So it's really almost like a gamble, this draft. So, when we get news like this of a commitment and a signing, which is really good, meaning Giancarlo Chanton, not Stanton, wants to come over and play in the CHL and eventually play in the NHL, which is pretty cool. He's 16 years old, and he's a defender. I guess he spent the past season with Langnau under 17 and under 8 and under 20 programs in Switzerland. He's 6 foot, $165, so he's got some pretty decent size for the CHL. He represented the Swiss at the under 17 level, where he actually wore the C. He was a captain for them. And in the IHF under 18 hockey championships. And in 17 games with Langnau's under 17 program, he finished with 13 points as a defenseman, which is pretty good.
Yep.
So 13 points in 17 games is really good. He's described as a smooth skating, puck moving defender, which is really good, what the Ice Dogs really need. He is expected to fit well with the young and fast Ice Dogs blue line come September. So exciting for the Ice Dogs. I'm loving that.
Yeah, I mean, you look at a guy like Sopa last year, who they got in the same type of way, and he had a huge impact on the Ice Dogs.
Right?
So
Giancarlo, not to be confused with Stanton Chanton, is looking to be a really hot commodity defenseman for the Ice Dogs next year. I'm expecting some big things out of him.
Yes, maybe he'll hit some dingers, maybe. But
maybe like between games, out in the parking lot.
Yeah. Speaking of Sopa, he was named to the Swiss under 20 summer evaluation camp, so good for him. Next bit of news, we have Steven Dillon signs a contract with the ECHL's Fort Wayne Comets.
Sorry, the ECHL makes me laugh. The names of the teams in the ECHL are hilarious. That is just an all-around funny league, from the jersey nights they have to the color of the posts are blue, and they have the word Geico spread all over them. And you got to do what you got to do for sponsors. But blue posts, that's different.
Yeah,
and
I'm surprised what Don Cherry has. Oh, those big bunch of jerks.
Yeah, the name of the teams are hilarious, like Greenville Swamp Rabbits, and all these different names are hilarious. Just the ECHL is different, but good for him for at least getting somewhere and playing some sort of professional hockey.
I really wish that he could have cracked a roster or a development camp with some team. I mean, we were waiting for him to get... When the draft came to Buffalo and we went to it, we stayed for the entire 7th round to see if Steven Dillon would get drafted, but unfortunately he did not. So, I think Steven Dillon has some sort of career in professional hockey. Yeah. I'm not saying he's going to be an NHL goaltender, but I think he can definitely be, an AHL starter if he develops in the right way. He was good for the Ice Dogs last year. His first couple of years, where he was kind of shaky, but this year he really proved that he could be a good goalie and a starting goalie for a team in the playoff run.
Fort Wayne Comets.
So
I think is it Comets with a K?
Yes.
Yes. So I don't think that's the original spelling of the word comet.
Yeah.
I think that's the way they spell it. They're actually trying to find out what affiliate team they are, because they're Vegas Golden Knights and the Chicago Wolves are the two upper affiliates. So
okay, maybe he'll be playing on Vegas one day with Ben Jones,
or maybe even Chicago Wolves.
Maybe if he turns out to be a starting goalie for the Chicago Wolves, good for him, man. That'll be a solid career for him. He's a Buffalo native as well. I gotta like that.
I remember him being invited. He got invited to a couple of camps for the U.S. junior team. So. It's not like he wasn't, just sitting around on the Ice Dogs not doing anything. He got invited to camps during the summer to go to. So if you're getting invited to those camps, you have some sort of credibility behind you.
It says right here on the Ice Dogs website, He was previously attended NHL development and or rookie camps with the Montreal Canadiens, Pittsburgh Penguins, St. Louis Blues, Boston Bruins, and Detroit Red Wings. So he's been invited to all these camps. He hasn't been able to, crack their teams, in their system, unfortunately. Yeah. But maybe going down there, you can have a good season and, impress somebody, and somebody will give him a pro contract in the AHL maybe or NHL. Hopefully. Next, the Ice Dogs. This is kind of interesting. The Niagara Ice Dogs and the St. Catharines Transit announced a new partnership.
Ooh. So, for you transit users out there, this is important. Listen up.
It is very important. If I can pull up the article here. And I can't. There it is. Okay. So, the Niagara Ice Dogs are proud to announce a new partnership with the St. Catharines Transit Commission to provide free transportation to all ticket-holding passengers to and from the game. Fans can ride any St. Catharines Transit bus up to 3 hours prior to puck drop and any time after the game until the end of service for that night. All fans will need to do is show a valid game ticket to the operator. So, I think that's very good good for them, man, for doing something like this. Because you look at kids, maybe, they can't get their parents to drive them down to the game, or people who just can't afford to drive down to the game and, use public transportation. Yeah, and parking's ridiculous, too. To even find a place to park down there can be a handful. Yeah. So, just catering to a bigger audience, I think, is great for them, and it's probably going to only help their ticket sales throughout the season. I mean, we know once playoff time they sell out, but during the regular season, I'm sure there are times, where, they do have the best attendance in the OHL, but still, I'm sure there are nights where they can bring in a few extra people by doing something like this. And again, it's a great way to bring in people that otherwise wouldn't be able to afford going to the game or wouldn't be able to have the opportunity to go to the game.
Did you say they get a ride back as well after the game?
Yep.
Right there is most important, because people that drink at the games, people that drink at hockey games and want to enjoy themselves at a hockey game and don't want to deal with the necessity of driving home, under the influence, taking the bus home, perfect way to stop that. Or, not having to pay for a taxi, which could be expensive sometimes, or an Uber. You can take the bus for free by showing your ticket, and they can take you as close as you need to go for home, or maybe someone can pick you up closer. You know what I mean? It's such a good partnership. So very well done. Very good partnership. And love the Burks.
Yep. And it probably keeps a lot of, maybe the congestion down there will go down as well. Maybe people will be like, hey, I'm just going to take the bus to the game. Screw trying to get down there and getting parking and all that. So maybe it'll clear out a little bit of the congestion that we get downtown during the games.
And for people listeners that are confused or maybe not from here, Niagara Ice Dog games are a big thing, especially in the city of St. Catharines, because we have nothing else down here. Besides the Buffalo Sabres and Toronto games, there's really nothing that we flock to. And to have a semi-professional, I guess you can call it professional, OHL team in our city of St. Catharines, that is huge. Because before this, before the Ice Dogs...
Niagara had nothing.
I remember back in the day what it was the Junior B games. The Junior B games were the thing to do for the city. They would pack that Memorial Arena for the Junior B games. Everyone, they would give out free tickets to elementary schools. They would pack it up. Yep. And that was the thing that people, that was the thing in Niagara Falls. Now that the Ice Dogs are here, that's the thing. And myself and Brandon have gone to many regular season and playoff games. And even during the regular season, they do so good. They can do so good. And midweek, they do so good. Yep. They almost sell out in midweek. It's crazy. It's a popular thing. So when Brandon brings up the point to relief congestion, or people that would get relief from congestion, that's an important factor right there. Especially
downtown St. Catharines. It's definitely a hassle to find parking around that area. Mm-hmm. And so I think it's a great job by the Ice Dogs to cater to a bigger audience. The congestion hopefully will be down, and people can get home safely and not have to worry about drinking and driving.
Right.
So, thumbs up to them for that, because that's a great thing that they're doing there.
You got a good Don Cherry thumbs up there.
The Don Cherry 2 thumbs up there.
Yeah.
They've hired an assistant coach, former NHL player Mark Mancari.
It's funny because I remember this guy.
He was a Sabres draft pick, which is why I remember this guy. Mark Mancari.
Man.
Can't say that he did a whole lot of. I can say that he did a whole lot of nothing in the NHL.
Yeah,
But he was an NHL player. If you really want to, say that he was somewhat successful.
He played 43 total NHL games. So that's between 2006 and 2012.
Yeah, he
For
played
you guys
in
and
the
Vancouver Canucks.
He also played most of his career in the AHL, and was a member of the Ottawa 67s for 4 years, starting in 2001, and has played the last 4 years in Germany. So, head coach Billy Burke was equally as excited about the newest addition behind the bench. We are very excited to have added Mark Mancari as an assistant coach. Mark recently retired from an impressive playing career.
He's got to keep it nice though. That's good for
At this point, you're just backhand insulting the guy. Come on, you're
man.
really
You gotta build him up, man. He played in the show.
He did. That's what I'm trying. We're hoping Steven Dillon can get to that level, but he played in the OHL, NHL, AHL, and Dell League. He has a passion for the game that the players will connect with immediately. I look forward to him getting started.
Ooh, yeah, he's gonna bring his shell experience to these kids, man. That 43 games, it'll go a long way. I'm telling you right now. Especially he got drafted by the great Buffalo Sabres, so he's bringing a lot here.
Okay, now you're just being condescending.
Not even.
Now you're just mocking the Sabres drafting Mark Mancari. Okay.
I hope it wasn't high.
Again, he's got Italian descent, which, good for him. He can play for, Team Italy in some sort of, international play. But again, what this guy's going to bring, you look at some of the coaches out there, the most successful coaches usually aren't the most talented, so maybe he can bring something to the Ice Dogs that, we're not really giving him credit for right now, So, Mark Mancari is joining the Ice Dogs as an assistant coach. And to go along with that, Jody Hull will be back as associate coach, signing a 2-year extension. He was with the Ice Dogs last year, and before that he was the head coach of, I believe, the Peterborough Petes for 6 seasons before that.
Yeah.
So
he's actually he actually played with the Petes way back in the day.
Yeah. So having another head coach a head coach on the staff is always a good thing.
By the way, Mancari, he was the 207th overall pick for you guys in 2004.
Again, so is there even 204 picks anymore in the NHL?
I don't know.
Anyways, the Ice Dogs will have a new voice next year.
Oh, and he's not replacing our boy Rama Hood. Let's not get over ourselves here.
No, not in-game voice.
Yeah.
The radio voice, if you listen to Ice Dog games on News Talk 610 CKTB on AM radio. Tim Lehman has been the voice of the Ice Dogs since they moved to the Niagara region 12 years ago. He called 996 Ice Dog games, missing less than a handful during his career.
This is actually sad.
A statement with the Ice Dogs, they say, "We would like to thank Ted for his contributions to our team and our radio broadcasts. We will miss the rigorous research he dedicated to learning and informing listeners about our team and our history in the Niagara region. But more importantly, we will miss having an integral part of our family at every game. He engaged listeners through both Eastern Conference championships and through the consecutive I can't even say that word, rebuilds, telling every game's story like it was our greatest to date. No one will ever call our goals like Ted. Thank you." So Ted Lehman, for those of you who have listened to Ice Dog games on the radio, has been here since the beginning, and he was a good announcer from the Ice Dog games that I've listened to on the radio in the past. But so the Ice Dogs are going to have a new voice next year.
Awesome.
Yet to be announced, but
it could be me.
Could be you. Remember we sat in the box seat that this year and we saw them next to us.
Maybe they heard me talking and
Call this guy up. Maybe they heard your boy Nino. Maybe they're calling him up. But
shout out to Nino.
Yeah, and like you told me earlier, the last bit of news is Thursday, September 19th versus Sudbury Wolves is the home opener for the Ice Dogs.
Ooh.
So I don't know if we're going to try to find tickets for that or not. I don't know, but I'm always interested to see. The Ice Dogs do a great job with their pre-game videos and the songs they choose for the videos. every time they seem to have a rebuilding team, they always seem to go back to New Age or Radioactive, I guess is the song name by the Imagine Dragons.
Yeah.
So are we going to get that song again since the Ice Dogs are rebuilding this year?
I don't know. Unless Imagine Dragons have come out with a recent song that's almost similar.
I mean, you got to give them props. I think you were saying like the guys that do the in-game videos, like they do a very good job with those.
Yeah, they do. The I think it's still Foregrounds Media. Those guys are insane, man. Like the season intro videos and the playoff ones they do are amazing, and it's the theme song to lead into this segment of the show that we used. The one from last year is just my favorite. So
yeah, For the Glory.
Yeah, it's a good song. Like
By
they did such a good job.
Yeah, their videos definitely get you hyped up for the game, and then Rod Mahood with your Niagara Ice Dogs.
That guy is by far the best PA announcer ever.
With those great commercials we get.
Yeah.
But anyway, so that's it for the Niagara Ice Dogs news.
Mm-hmm.
I think we got a little bit left in the show. So, I mean, we can briefly touch over the Gretzky-Hlinka Cup, but again, I mean, I'm going to play the song for, Team Canada on TSN, but, like, again, the Gretzky-Hlinka Cup, for whatever reason, you go to their website and you try to get information on it, and the articles are no longer available.
Yeah, they as soon as the tournament's over, they packed it up and they packed it up and see you later.
It's just like once the tournament's over, they want to. They're just like throwing away any sort of archive that ever happened.
It just didn't exist.
It never existed.
You didn't see anything.
We didn't see anything. I guess if Canada didn't win it, it didn't matter, right?
Yeah. They didn't make it to the gold though. We didn't reach gold.
He did reach gold and lost to Russia in the finals. But things take away from that tournament. Keel Thomas looked great.
Oh man, he's really like breaking out hard, man. LA's got a stud in Akil Thomas right now,
and not just because he's a Niagara Ice Dog boy.
No,
but
he was good for us. But I really, to me, truthfully, like looking at Akil Thomas and what he did with the Ice Dogs before getting drafted, I'm like, okay, he'll most likely get drafted. He'll probably maybe crack a preseason team, and I just from there I felt like his road was going to be hard. Like I kind of put him in the same boat as a Hosang. Like his road was going, like maybe not the same attitude, but his road is going to be very hard along the way. But he's already proving so far through what he's done before even making the team that he is going to be good. Akil Thomas will be a star, I guarantee you, for LA Kings, and I hope to God they give him some playing time because I think he might be NHL ready.
You think so?
Yeah, I think he's good. He's good enough to play on a third or fourth line. Not a lot of ice time a night, maybe 10 to 12 minutes a night. I think he could do it. Well,
especially on a team that needs young blood, like the Kings. They've just got so many old players on their team. They really need to start building a new young core.
You need to get with what the NHL is becoming, and the NHL is getting faster. You need a fast team. You need to keep up.
Yeah, they need to keep restocking the shelves. I mean, I thought they got Alex Turcotte was a steal for them in the draft this year. Getting more guys like that is key. And it's funny that Akil Thomas plays for Team Canada because he's originally born in the United States. So we finally had somebody that was born in the States that played for Canada because usually it's the other way around just because of where they're living and things like that. But, I mean, things to take away. I mean, Canada finished 3-0 in their group. They won the group. Mm-hmm. So, I mean...
And they had two studs out of that tournament. One is a Montreal draft pick, but don't put any stock in that. They'll probably trade him because he's not French. But Cole Caulfield was a beast. I think there was 2 games he scored in this tournament where he scored 2 hat tricks.
Yeah, and one of them was against us, I believe.
Yeah.
He's a stud. Like, that one goal that he scored from the corner where he literally found, like, the smallest... Like, you couldn't even fit a fly through there. I don't know how you fit
the puck there. How do you honestly fit the puck there?
I have no idea. But, like, it looked like a fly couldn't even fly through... between the crossbar and the goalie's shoulder pad. Like, there was no room whatsoever, and he just put it top shelf.
That was insane. So, stud for Montreal to him. There was a player in Team Canada actually had a really good tournament, Quentin Byfield.
Yeah, he's a projected top pick next year.
Yeah, he's a beast. The guy looks... To me, he's NHL ready. I think he's going to be a top 3 pick for sure. I was watching highlights of him, and I'm like, he's such a smooth skater. He just looks out of... he looks off, out of touch or out of place out there because he's better than a lot of the kids out there right now that were on the ice. Like he's just ahead of the curve. Like he's going to make the NHL next year. Like not this season, but the following season, he's going to make the NHL.
And I mean, the guy's 6'4", 214, so like he's already almost NHL bulk. Like he's like he doesn't really need. You get these guys that they get drafted and like they're like a $110 soaking wet, and like they just need to build muscle. Like this guy's big. Like he just needs to keep developing his strength and learning to play in his big body and learning
top 3 pick.
Yeah.
And interesting here, Brandon. If we go to the home opener for the Ice Dogs, he actually plays for the Sudbury Wolves, so we might be able to see him.
That would be really interesting, actually. I'd actually like to see him play live. That'd be interesting. Some other key players on the team were Cole Perfetti is a top pick.
Yeah, he's also had a really good tournament.
Yeah, he was. I'm pretty sure he was like the first overall pick by Saginaw a few years ago, if not like in the top 5. And he's developed into a very good player. He's going to be a top 10, top 15 player in the draft next year, it looks like.
Mm-hmm.
But those are the 2 guys to watch, I think, for Team Canada moving forward into the World Juniors, which we will be covering a lot come December. We'll be covering a lot of the Team Canada World Junior stuff. Another guy, Caden Gooley, just because I know him because he's Brendan Gooley's brother, who was the guy that we traded for Brandon Montour. He's a solid defenseman as well. So I think there were some good things to take away from this tournament from Canada's perspective. I mean, you lose in the gold medal game to Russia. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, obviously, the result wasn't what they wanted, but a lot of these guys got a lot of good experience and got a taste of what international hockey is going to be like for them come World Juniors.
And that's what I mean. In another month or two, a month and a half, we're going to start doing the camp for the World Juniors. So we'll see who's going to crack that lineup.
Yep, and that'll be a good experience for them. So that's how the Gretzky-Hlinka went. Canada lost 3-2 to Russia in the gold medal game. So, But yeah, I think that's all we got for Team Canada since there's nothing else really going on with them besides the under-18 and the Gretzky-Hlinka that happened.
Yeah.
And the World Championships. That was that great tournament.
Yeah, because that's what everyone pays attention to is the Gretzky-Hlinka Cup in the middle of the summer. Stop what you're doing.
I mean, it does showcase some great young players coming up.
But like no one's paying attention.
Yeah, I mean,
besides scouts, no one's paying attention, or people who watch highlights like me.
And yes, the World Championships are my favorite part of international hockey for sure. You get those great lineups, those great teams.
Oh, yeah.
But is there anything else you want to add before we end the show this week?
No, it's good to be back. I'm excited for the future of this network. We got a lot of good shows coming this week, especially on the network. And I'm excited for hockey to get back and going. Fucking pumped.
Yeah, we're going to do a lot of hockey stuff on this podcast. On this network, that's for sure. Mm-hmm. Stay tuned to next week, because if we don't have a lot of news about these teams, since this was kind of like a 2-month show that we kind of put together today because of, it's the offseason, nothing's going on. I don't think we would have been doing this show every week in the last 2 months because there just really wasn't anything that of purpose to talk about until the season starts. But I'm going to come up with a really fun topic for you guys next week, and Kyle and I are going to pick our players. I'm just going to give you a kind of a preview and kind of a tease with that. We're going to pick our players on the air, and it's going to be a really fun, interactive show. Maybe I'll even put out a question asking you guys who your players would be and things like that. But I think we're going to do it for the Leafs and the Sabres. It's a pretty cool topic and something that we can definitely do in the off-season since there's nothing, not a lot going on. So stay tuned for next week's Niagara Hockey Lowdown. I'm really looking forward to the episode. I'm gonna do my best to put as much time and effort as I can into that show. And Kyle doesn't even know the topic yet, so that'll
no, I don't.
Really
That's
fun.
I'm surprised now, and I'm going to be surprised.
Yep, maybe until the season starts, we'll try to do some fun things. Maybe we'll do some Chell episodes. Who knows? But thank you, Kyle, and that's gonna wrap it up for today's episode of the Niagara Hockey Lowdown, right here on the Armchair GM's Sports Network. We are your source for North American sports coverage by sports fans, for sports fans, and delivered to you right here from the Niagara region. As always, I am your host of the Niagara Hockey Lowdown, Cappy. You can follow me on Twitter at Caputs13 with a Z, not a Z. We are in Canada, folks. All the links on how you can follow us will be in the description of this video on whichever platform you're listening to us right now. And thank you to my co-host, as always, Kyle, for the discussion today. Pleasure as always, Kyle. Besides your Sabres ribbing at times, you can follow him on Twitter at JustKyle51. And a big thank you to all of our great sponsors who help put us on and support our network. It's greatly appreciated. And finally, to you viewers out there for tuning in and listening to us along on this episode. This has been the Niagara Hockey Lowdown on the Armchair GM Sports Network. By sports fans, for sports fans. We'll see you next time.